Yes, so thanks for having me, Chris. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's been a while since I did something like this, but situation that we're in now, it's just good to have an opportunity to catch up with everybody and talk basketball. Uh, right now, currently, live in Munich, Germany, and I just finished the season with the Sydney Kings. And so what we want to do now is go through a practice plan from this past season. Are we on point here?
We are on practice plan. Yeah, you bet, coach.
Cool. So what everybody sees here is a Sydney Kings, obviously Sydney Kings practice plan. And I'm about to take you through a little bit of it. This is just a gist of it. So here it is so just to give you a little bit of a rundown. So we have the day and the number of practice that we're trying to get into. We always keep track of that, the minutes of each drill that we do. And then to the right of the screen, you'll see the load goal, which is 7 out of 10, which is probably a minimum or a medium, sorry. And you'll also see that our strength and conditioning coach has a huge impact on what we do every day in practice. So if we're going too high, he'll let us know. If we're going too low, he'll let us know. But this is something that's very important to our program. And we rely on Toby Banfield is his name, our practice schedule. Usually this 7 out of 10 happens midweek and just depending on the situation. So more over to the right of the screen, you'll see in and out, which basically tells everybody who's in practice and who's out of practice in the red. So not participating or potentially they might not be in the 5-on-5, but they can practice 5-on-0. So, or if there's an injury or a recovery, then the teams will be split into purple and gold, and or we'll have team A, team B, team C. We'll have 3 groups, just depending on the situation and what the drill is. Moving on. So what will happen is we'll just for example, we'll start practice at 10, and the head coach, Will Weaver, will come down, we'll huddle up, and he will introduce maybe a new play or any housekeeping things that we got to take care of. Maybe something that happened in practice the day before or something that happened in the game the day before. But then eventually we'll get into some light warm-up. Teams will split, and we're trying to just get the players activated. And we always are saying, we're always saying every drill should have a point. So that's important to us, and we try to build our practice from there. So here's just gonna start us off with some video here. Does everybody see that? Chris, are we good?
Yeah, we got it. Yep, it's showing here.
Good. So part of this is, well, I love this part. So we're starting our warm up. Turn on the volume there, apologize. So Toby there did a little bit of defensive slide. White team is going with Toby, purple team is going with myself. And so now we're practicing with our footwork, we're practicing finishing at the rim against wall-ups, something that we identified, especially going into the playoffs. A lot of teams were doing that versus us. So we started off with the Euro. Everybody's just getting some reps at that. Again, just a light warm-up for our group of guys. Eventually, we would split the group, swap the groups. Purple would go down with Toby. White would go down with myself. We have Steve Nash, Canadian legend, reverse, just trying to be creative around the rim, finishing with your weak hand, strong hand, faking like you're going away from the basket, then attacking the basket, all these different activities around the rim that we want our players to bring it part into their game. One of my favorites is the jump around move. You're attacking the rim. We understand that the defense is walling up. We're going strong at them. We jump around the defense. Again, just finishing strong with your left or your right. And again, just trying to get them activated for our next drill that will be coming up. Okay, so just bear with me. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth a little bit from the practice plan to the video. So just showed you guys a little bit of the warm up. So we are now on to muck defense. So just a little bit of a explanation here. X5 or X4 is dropping off the offensive player, which would be a non-shooting threat. And so basically totally disrespecting that player, basically playing mind games with them. And what we're doing here, when I show you the clips here, it's like a 3-on-0 situation, and we are trying to explore different scoring opportunities from that. So right away, to stop it here, so we're talking about DHO and Jordy Hunter, our big, who started the drill. When we say DHO, he's basically just going to hand it off with the guard, but we want to emphasize attacking first, and if you don't see anything, then the DHO happens, and we want to be trying to do this with speed. So I do a little bit of an explanation here with the group. This is our practice facility in Sydney. A little bit better with some speed. So now we're finding the pocket, putting heat on the rim, nothing at the rim, hit the corner. Here's Bogut doing the same thing. We hit the shake, finding the post for the dunk. Fake DHO, putting heat on the rim, finding the corner. And so we're just trying to, again, we're just looking at different options, and we're building up our practice for later on, which I'll explain. This situation is passing and screening away, looking for the lob. We encourage our guys, we encourage our shooters. If you're open, shoot it. We really encourage that. We emphasis on screening. Bogues is doing a good job of screening. Here we are with another pocket pass and heat on the rim. Nothing there, finding the corner. And so we're telling our bigs, if you know that you're screening for a shooter, potentially that they're going to have a lot of attention to them. And this is Casper Ware, so he draws a lot of attention, a lot of gravity towards him. So expect lobs at the rim because of that. And this is another option that a lot of teams run. So I'm in a muck position, basically at the rim. The guard goes and screens me, so opening up a driving lane for Bogut. Just call it a rip screen. So these are just, again, we're building it up, building it up, building it up. This is a 3-on-0 situation, a little bit of token defense from the coaches, and guys just getting a feel for what we want to accomplish later on in practice. We'll shoot back over to the practice sheet. So at 10:18, we are introducing rub short and hedge. So every team has a different name for it. I'll just try to explain it. So basically, one big is setting the on ball, The other big is on the baseline, ready to, catch the short pass. This was highly effective for us in the playoffs. We emphasize screening the bottom, which is making sure our big screens the on-ball defender's back so that he's not able to go under. That's really, really important for us. Small detail, but super important. I'm gonna show you some different series of looks that we find from this rub short situation. Rub short then creates different windows to shoot, to drive, to pass, and we emphasize making the ball see you, finding that window. I'll explain make the ball see you in later on down the line. So here we go. So right away, as I just said, here's Coach Weaver getting on Jordy Hunter. Screen the bottom, screen the bottom. Like, it's imperative that we do that, and guys have an understanding for that. Stopping the drill right away, getting on Jordy, making sure we screen the bottom, hitting the short, nothing's there, keeping the energy in the ball. Other guys would say making the ball not stick. Defense collapse, being ready to catch and shoot, finding the short, restricted area, finishing at the rim, pocket, finding the short, and then the pocket. And we're just trying to get as many reps as we can in these situations. Hit the post, screening partners with speed. So we say the twist screen, so JT's coming up and setting a screen, but he just twists it at the end, just keeping the defense honest, keeping them guessing. Ball continues to move. And so I'll just stop it here. One aspect of it is, so I will, or the coaches, myself, Adam Ford and Will Weaver, we will give the players instructions at the beginning, but then the coaches will be silent and let the players take ownership and call out the plays and call out the options that they want. It just gives them a better feel for what we're trying to do as a team. And nobody's silent on the floor. Everybody has a responsibility to know what's going on. So just want to replay this situation here just to set it up a little bit for everybody. So now we put our big in the corner, Bogues is under the basket, and now we put our guard setting the rub screen. So we basically identified Brad Newley is coming to set the screen on Casper Ware. We identified that Brad Newley doesn't have a great defender on him. So we're curious to know how they're going to defend that. Are they going to switch it? Are they going to hedge it? Maybe we can get a quick shot from it. And if we don't get a quick shot from it, then we just play out of that. And again, make the ball move, keep the energy in the ball. This was a highly effective situation for us. Good. So now I'll just stop it here. So again, we're sticking with the rub short concept, and now it's versus a hedge. And so basically at the point of the ball screen, I'll be hedging, play out of that and see what options we have, trying to find windows. Okay, so just to stop it here. So I mentioned making the ball see you. So I can explain this terminology. So what will happen here is Deshaun Taylor has the ball. Xavier will come set the on ball. I'm gonna hedge. We'll hit the pocket pass, and Sean Bruce will be in the right corner, and he will. We are telling him to find windows and make the ball see you. So Sean Bruce could be open, but there's so much going on in the game situation, as everybody knows. There's so many bodies. Maybe Deshaun Taylor, the point guard, can't see him. Maybe we hit the pocket pass to Xavier and he can't see him. So we say make the ball see you. Get to a window area so that whoever has the ball actually sees you, so that you can shoot, drive it, or pass it.
Coach, a couple people are just asking, could you kind of define rub screen for them?
Rub screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me slow it down. So basically, it's just a terminology that we use. Rub screen is just an on-ball screen, and we're just setting an on-ball in the middle of the floor. And so when we say rub short, we get the rub in the middle of the floor, and then we get the short, which is another big under the basket area or baseline area, and he's reading the situation of where he can get a short pass, basically in the post area, and then we play out of there. If the defense collapses, great, we can find windows and play out of that situation as well.
Perfect.
Hopefully,
that's great. Yeah, no, it's good.
Cool. And right there you see Brucey's in the corner, but he finds a window, comes out of the corner, catch and shoot three. So I'll stop it here again. So Xavier is gonna set the rub screen on Deshaun Taylor. I'm gonna hedge, and our big Daniel Kicker, who's played the 4 for the majority of his career, we played him at the 5 this season. So if you can imagine, Daniel Kicker is a great 3-point shooter. He's like 40% from his career, and now he's playing at the 5. So now we put X5 in a difficult situation. He has to make some choices. So either he's going to stay in the painted area, which most X5s like to do, or he will chase Daniel Kicker out to the 3-point line, which means the rim is unprotected from probably the best shot blocker, the X5, and we can attack the rim or also kick it. So I'll just let it play out. And if you can just imagine an X5 guarding Kicker here. Pocket pass. And so now Kicker's going out to the corner. If you can imagine X5, now what should I do? Do I stay and protect the rim, or do I go out and guard a 40% 3-point shooter? So again, this is rep after rep after rep. That's what we're trying to do, trying to get a feel for what we will be doing later on in practice. And so we'll just head back to the practice sheet. So we call this the rub short world. And basically it's a 5-on-0 type of situation, but now we have the offensive team playing against the DPs and the coaching staff. So it's like 60% defense, 60% D. DPs are our development players, like young guys practicing with us, potentially playing in a game if it's a blowout situation. And we are rotating offensive team in one after another, getting as many reps as we can as quickly as possible. And we also say in this situation, any offensive set that we run, let's try to find rub short, which is what we've been practicing with the 3-on-0 and the 5-on-0. So rub short world. So just to set the scene. So transition, everybody has this. So a double drag screen. If we don't get a great shot out of that double drag, let's find rub short. And that's what we're trying to emphasize here. There'll be a couple of these sets that I'm going to show to you. Great spacing. So let me just stop it here. If I'm going too quickly, Chris, just let me know, and I apologize now for that.
It's great. It's great.
So we're setting the on ball. Jayshawn Tate is setting the on ball, and Bogues is setting the pin down. So to preoccupy the defense. And from there, if we don't get a shot, which sometimes we will, sometimes we won't, that's just part of the game, then let's get into rub short, which is what we've been doing. And then we will find many options out of that situation. Same thing on a side out of bounds situation. We don't get a clean look, open three or a clean layup. Let's find rub short. Hits the short, hits the pocket, hits the corner. Love it. Same thing here. Baseline out of bounds. We don't have an easy basket. Let's find rub short. Just to show that clip again, just the speed and the execution of that. And yes, the defense isn't great, obviously, but the guys are getting a feel for what's going to be open offensively, because basically the defense has to pick their poison. So again, so we've started with the 3-on-0. Now we went 5-on-0. Then we go 5-on-0, but versus the DPs and coaching staff. And now guys should have a good feel of what we're trying to execute when we get into a scrimmage situation later on in practice. So let's just jump to the next part of practice. So 10:30 comes, and so it's drink break and on-court video scout. And this is something that I really love, because as an assistant coach, you're doing a lot of scouting, obviously. And I think this is a great opportunity to identify some tidbits of information and teach and have the players learn. So we would say, going into the season, we were saying, let's less classroom lecture and more individual learning, with visual, with auditory, with physical, with reading and writing. And the team really gravitated to that and started to take a good grasp of this situation instead of just being in a room and showing tons of video. I think everybody's been through that, and we just didn't feel that was useful for us. Partly, trust is on the screen there, and I'll explain that later on. And just as it says, 2 trips on the practice sheet, basically what that means is defend their set, and then offense, defense, down and back, and then we flip it. So just a little bit of an explanation there. If anybody has any questions, obviously you're free to ask. So scout situation. So here we are, we just finished a drill. So you see me walking over to the video. I'm about to take the team through our scout. You see Coach Weaver's there. And I'll show the team 3 or 4 clips, and I will start to talk to them about what our opponent is trying to do offensively. and just tidbits that I've seen scouting that team heading into our game. You see Will walk off the screen, and then he will eventually come into it. You just have to take care of something. This is really personal for me because, as you can see, I have the full attention of the team. And when I said trust earlier, Will has trusted his assistant coaches to manage these situations. So myself or Adam Ford, we would have the group, everybody's focusing on whatever I'm trying to teach them here in this situation. Will's coming back over, and then this is when he will bring in his input and basically tell us what we would be doing defensively in this situation. So they get to see it, I get to show them, he gets to tell them how we're gonna defend it. While everybody's getting a drink as well, getting a rinse. So I'll walk onto the floor, and then now I'll start to explain to them the current play that we're gonna walk through, and then physically put them through that. Any small little questions, they have an opportunity to ask me, as you can see that they're doing right now. And then as I finish up, Will come on, and then he'll give a clear explanation of what we're going to do defensively in this situation. The floor is open to questions, so that we have a clear understanding, and then we get into the scout and trying to defend this play. So just to stop it here, so everybody can read the text below. And so, but before I played, it's easier for me just to explain it. JT, you'll see JT, good troca. Troca means switch in Spanish. One of our players this season was Didi Lazada. The Pelicans drafted him last year. They stashed him with us. And we felt that good assimilation for him would be using some Spanish terms to help him get comfortable with the group. So the JT Good Troca, which is switch, Jordan Hunter, muck position, Kevin Lish will be, we were saying we want to top the situation. So Kevin Lish is in the top, executing a top. But at the same time, we want to get that player on his left hand, which we don't do, which we'll see in the clip, but he gives a good contest, and that's all you can ask for. JT, good switch, good top, good contest. Brad Newley, tough shot. So, as I said, this is an explanation of on the bottom here. So 2-on-2 with support. So let's just talk about that. You're going to see an on-ball situation, a mid-on-ball situation. And we say 2-on-2 with support, which is our two defensive players in the on-ball are handling it on their own, basically, with support. The key for the guard is to get the guard that he's playing on his weak hand. The big is calling out the screen and making sure that his big offensive player doesn't get behind him, and staying in good position at the rim. You'll see DK, good wall up. You'll see Xavier with a great finish with contact. And you'll see Brad Newley understanding that Daniel Kicker has taken the ball and recognizing Bogues is about to come offensive rebound. So he hits him and boxes him out. Get him on his weak hand. Good wall up. Brad Newley is boxing him out, boxing Andrew Bogut out. And so this is just the next clip for everybody. So similar situation, a mid on ball. And so now Xavier is guarding Brad Newley in the corner. And we told Xavier Brad Newley is the shooter in this drill. So you recognize that. So he has to decide, or he needs to figure out that he is not a non-shooter, he's a shooter. So basically we're saying if he's a non-shooter, we want to provide solid support. If he's a shooter, then you're not going to give so much support, which he does, and you'll see the outcomes for that. Good switch, troca by Kevin Lish, get him on his weak hand. Too much support by Xavier. I froze it there, and now we have their shooter knocking down that. And that's, for us, that's unacceptable. We do not want to be giving up catch and shoot threes to their best player, their best shooter. And so the guys will see this clip, and the guys will have the text underneath it. Here's another clip where Diddy Lazada is locking in trail, but because of poor communication, he hesitates. Then because of that hesitation, he goes under on the flare, which is our shooter. And obviously we don't want that. We want to take away the three and get him inside the 3-point line. So that's a big no-no. So just to jump back now to the practice sheet. And we're just moving on just a little bit. We repeat that previous drill. So I'll do the exact same thing. We're on the floor. I'll do the exact same thing. Show them another scout and do the exact same thing. Bring them onto the floor. Explain it again, and we'll go through it. And then we'll get into a scrimmage situation, which is team 1 versus team 2. We'll huddle. We'll scrimmage. And what we're really trying to do now is, so we've built it up: 3-on-0, 5-on-0, 5-on-5 a little bit with the DPs and coaches, and then the scout. And now we get into the scrimmage situation. And so we're trying to create the game-like situations where timeouts, fouls, technical fouls, to create mental stress on our group. This is a big aspect of the game. We purposely try to rattle them. We want to see who responds to bad calls. We want to see who, out of the group, if your teammate is responding in a bad way, we want to see who goes and grabs them and brings them back into the huddle and tells them next play. This is all helpful for us so that we understand what potentially could happen in the game situation, and then also applying the methods of the previous drills that we were doing building up into this situation. I don't have any video for this, but I just wanted to give a clear explanation to what would be going on when the scrimmage would happen. Chris, is there any questions?
No, I think we're good right now. We'll have a couple when you wrap up this practice plan, just about in general here.
Okay. So just jumping to the next part of practice. So situational. So towards the end of practice, we leave this towards the end of practice just to keep the practice level focus high. We have a high priority for this, to put guys to develop a comfort zone and an understanding of challenging situations. So Will, or even myself, or 40, will call a play that we will run at the end of a game, at the end of the quarter, after a timeout. Also, we will have the players take an active role and have them draw up a play or decide what play to call. So it's really important for us to give them ownership of the team so that they feel the process and everybody's going in the right direction. What we try to focus in on is great execution, as it says, great execution. So the speed of our movements and our screening is more important than actually making the shot. So if we can get execution, we can get great screening, we can get great screen, we'll live with whatever open shot that we'll get. So these are just a few situations that we have that I cut for everybody just to take a look at. So here we are in transition. One of our transition looks, we don't have anything. And so now you'll hear guys saying, rub short. Okay, and so now I'll just run this back a little bit for everybody. Again, we've built it up now to this point where 3-0, 5-0, 5 versus DPs, and now we're going 5-on-5 in a situational. No hesitation. We don't get a good shot, fine rub short. So I'll stop it here. So we'll be coming in transition, and we talked about earlier hitting the bottom and rolling to the basket. Daniel Kicker is now on a sprint, and he's gonna come set an on ball, hit the bottom, and roll to the basket, putting pressure on Diddy's defensive player, and Diddy will shake for open three. Hit the bottom, shake. Here we are on the side out of bounds. Fine rub short. So I just want to show this play again so everybody has a clear understanding of it. So find the rub short. JT, great handoff, great screen, rolling to the basket. Daniel Kicker is playing Vogues. He was a big load down in the restricted area. Kicker obviously sees JT rolling to the basket. He needs to take a step to him, or else he would give up a layup. Giving that step to JT opens up Vogues in the great restricted area. Brad Newley gives him the ball. Vogues just needs to finish that. Here we are, rub short again. We don't get anything immediately out of rub short, but the ball continues to move. And eventually we find a great option. Just the speed of our execution in the screening, we get Brad Newley open for a wide open three. So just to set this up here, press break situation. Obviously we want to break the press, but we don't want to slow it down and call a play, which, okay, a lot of teams do. Everybody has their prerogative of what they want to do. But for us, we want to attack the defense. We break the press, let's attack. The defense isn't set, maybe we can get an easy score. Let's not slow down. Hit the bottom. Good, and so in this situation, we're down 2. We're trying to trap in the backcourt. We don't get a steal, and so then we play the clock. We match Everybody's talking, communicating. We play solid defense, we wall up, and then now we go. Obviously, we're down 2. We were looking for the 3, but if we can get a 2, then we'll take it. Just to run this back. Good wall up by Brad Newley. We get the rebound. Good situational learning experience for everybody. Side out of bounds, down 3. We need a 3. This is good identification for us to know who we want the ball to get it, or who we want the ball to get to. Great execution. Casper Ware, that's what he does. Down 2, we want to go for the 3. Okay, and so basically we want to end, it doesn't happen all the time, but we want to try to end practice with everybody's spirits high and with knowing that we executed the play. We accomplished what we set out from the beginning of practice. Obviously, the shot doesn't always go in, but when it does, it's a good feeling from everybody. As you can see, purple and white team are going a little bit crazy, but we try to leave practice in those situations. So we're just going to jump back to the practice sheet. So Will would bring it in with everybody and have a little debrief and clean up any questions. We would reflect on what happened in practice, and Will would ask the question, what did we learn today? And so he's really big on players, like he always says, don't be a passenger. Don't be a passenger. Like, we want everybody to be active and have an active role within our group. We want everybody to be in the boat. So if you are a player that is more so on the quiet side, Will would be probably for sure asking you, what did we learn today? And put you on the spot so that other guys see that you're attentive and know what's going on. And we want to see what you saw in practice, and just develop you as a basketball player and as a person. And you also see the vitamins, extra shooting, and free throws. So just a quick explanation to that. Vitamins take place before practice and after practice, and they're 20 minutes long. So if our practice starts at 10 a.m., one vitamin would start at 9:20, and the next vitamin would start at 9:40, and then we would roll on to the practice floor at 10 a.m. Vitamin, which I think everybody knows, is an individual workout with the player on floor. It can be basketball drills and related to whatever we need to work on with that individual player, or it could be just feedback from how the player is doing. This is a big focus to our program with the Sydney Kings, player development. Sean Bruce, which is one of the local or a domestic player, many teams overlooked him, didn't sign him last season, and we signed him. He ended up being in the running for Sixth Man of the Year. Didi Lazada, one of the Pelicans guys, was with us. He'll be with the Pelicans either within this year or next. Jayshawn Tate, been overlooked all throughout his professional career. Ohio State. He was in Belgium last season. He had to walk on basically in Belgium to get a tryout, and then ended up having a great season. We recognized him, brought him to Sydney Kings. He was our MVP of the season, and he was voted in the top 5 for the NBL. So that's a huge part of our program. That if we are able to develop these guys, then obviously as a team, we're better as a team. And for them, they're probably going to go off to do many good things. And we're proud of that situation when players do something like that. And basically that was what a Sydney Kings practice would look like. Each week varies depending on our opponent. We'll mix it up with different drills here and there, but that's what a Sydney Kings program looks like for us.
So
go ahead.
So, Coach, you said this was right before playoffs. Is that correct? This practice was took out of?
So some of that stuff was right before playoffs.
Okay.
I cut up some of the other stuff, but some of that stuff was right before playoffs and just identifying certain aspects of who we were going to play in the playoffs.
Okay.
I can tell you that the rub shorts situation won us. Well, maybe I shouldn't say won us the series, but was a big factor in Game 3, where winner go home.
Right. Hence, you guys working on it so much. No, that was a great, Coach. A few questions, I guess, from my side. So the vitamins, I think you touched on that, because when I was watching this practice plan, we're looking at about an hour 20. So they have roughly about 20 or 30 minutes extra of their vitamins on top of this. Now, they're pros, so I'm sure they do a bunch of their skill work on their own, but would this be a regular hour 20, hour 30 for you guys? How long do you usually go at practice?
We would, so let's say we play on Saturday, Sunday, and then maybe the Monday's off, and then the Tuesday would be, we're slowly getting ourselves back into it. So it always varies, and our strength and conditioning coach has huge input and is tracking our guys. So if it's been a long, hard 2 weeks, then he would pull us back. If guys are not getting to the level that they need to get to, then he will push us even more so that we get to that level, so that when the game comes, they're not lagging behind because we haven't done enough in practice.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Right at the top, you got your head coach talk walk. What does that mean when you?
So anything. So let's say Will wants to introduce a new play. So okay, we'll talk about it. He'll introduce it. Let's say something happened in practice the previous day. Then we'll talk about that quickly, and then we'll move on to our practice. And I apologize, and I forgot to mention this. So with our scout and with the text that you guys saw from the different when defending the offensive team's play, after each practice, we will cut up the practice, and then we will send out those clips in a group setting, like a WhatsApp group, for each player to look at so they can watch it every evening. So social media is a big part of the world today, and we always feel like everybody's on their phones, anyways. If they can take 30 to 45 minutes to take a look at what's happened in practice and educate themselves on the good, the bad, the ugly, that will help us going into next practice, and that obviously will help us going into the upcoming game.
That makes sense. And you said what's up, you send it out to usually when you're showing them practice clips?
Yeah, so like we just use WhatsApp, or it could be any type of group setting on our phones that you would have.
Okay. Now with you guys carry developmental players, is that correct, on your team?
Yes.
How many do you have on your roster, and do you guys work them into practice? Obviously late in the season, probably not, you're working on your stuff, but start of this season, like how does that work when you guys are carrying those developmental players?
So we are assigned, so myself, Adam Ford, Will, and Alice Marich, who joined our staff as well. Like everybody is assigned 4 or 5 players, including development players, and they are getting work in just like our regular pros. So we try not to exclude anybody. Obviously, as the season goes along, there's priority goes into the playoffs, but vitamins are also our priority, and we make sure everybody's getting their work in.
Okay, perfect. Last one here before we sign off, so the next guys can get ready to go. Give me just a brief overview of what early in the season looks like compared to now, because there's a ton of 5-on-5 here late in the season. If you guys were, say, in your first month before you even start your regular season, your practices are loaded more to teaching of offense, skill development. Where is that at the beginning of the season?
So player development, 100%. At the beginning of this season, Will was with the Boomers, Australian national team. So it was Adam Ford and myself having control of the team. And we were basically introducing, and Will Weaver was new to us, so we're basically introducing his offense and his defense, and a lot of breakdown 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and then 5-on-5. That is a lot more at the beginning of the season. And as the season goes along, there's just a lot of wear and tear, and we start to cut back. We had an older team, Andrew Bogut, Brad Newley, Daniel Kickert, Kevin Lish. Those guys are just a little bit older, so we had to cut back on what we were doing. Obviously, if you have a younger team, you can do more later on in the season.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Coach, I want to thank you so much for coming on today, taking the time out of your day to prep this and present to us, both from Golden Ticket Sports and from Basketball Immersion. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm going to leave you with the last word here, and then we're going to log off.
Chris, appreciate you having me on. Just leaving with just practice is just a fundamental part of shaping your team and building character of the team. The guys that we worked with this season were a special group. We ended up finishing in first place, but it was a joy to come into work like every single day. And I learned a lot from them as well. And like the environment that our owner, that our GM, that Will Weaver placed upon the coaching staff and the players, it was fun to come to work. So I'm glad I was able to share a little bit of that with you guys. And Sydney's not a bad place to live as well. So I would recommend that to anybody. If you have an opportunity to head out there, please do so.
All right. I missed it, Coach. I hope to be back, and good luck to you next season.
Everybody take care. Ciao.
Bye.